Hello, welcome everybody to another edition of USA Late Night Live, Super Extravaganza Extraordinaire. I'm your host, once again, Forrest at USA EFC on every single amount of socials you can get onto. With me today is Jacob Ritchie. Jacob, say hello to everybody.
Hello, 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 hello.
Hello, it's good to be back because once again, the Toffees have won. Again, two in a row, three of the last four. It's 3-0 over Forest at home. I love when we play Forest because I just start rolling out and people just refer to them as Forest. And I'm just like, oh, hey, you don't have to talk about me like that. Hey, what do you mean? Oh, I'll take tickets to the game. I'm like, whatever. It's something I get to play with. It's unique to me. So just a quick rundown of the show. We're going to talk Forest. Obviously, game is fresh in our memory from yesterday. We're going to talk Tierno Berry's first goal and how good that felt. We're going to have a quick look ahead to Chelsea next Saturday. Big game. We're sixth in the table now. They're just a point ahead of us. And if there's any talk of European aspirations, we need to go to a team like Chelsea and pick up some points. So, Jacob, did you get a chance to watch the full game?
I did.
What did you think?
I am surprised. I'm pleasantly surprised. First goal was a little bit lucky, I thought. A little bit of quality from Dewsbury Hall. Set it up, it takes a deflection, it goes in. And then, there's a couple nervy moments early. Pickford makes a good save, but we look good again. The attack has been great. The goal from Barry for the half, we seemed like maybe we were getting a little wobbly at the end of the first half, but we get a great counterattack and Jai it off to Barry. First goal. I've been predicting a Tierno Berry goal for every single match since September. So it's great to see him get off the mark. And then Dewsbury Hall scores again. He has just been outrageously good recently. And my main takeaway is how quick things change from the last time we've talked to we're a mid-table team. And now all of a sudden here we are again losing our heads and saying, oh, well, maybe Europe is on the table. And, that's how quick it's changed this year. It feels like we've been up and down, on and off.
It's been real back and forth, hasn't it? Very refreshing game. I hope I'm still able to be heard as I deal with some connection issues.
You are coming through loud and clear.
Yeah, it was a real refreshing game. Just having a comfortable 3-0 win, something I feel like we haven't had in a very long time. Especially considering the past couple of results at home have been pretty disappointing. 3-0 to Tottenham, 4-1 to Newcastle. To come out in a game that maybe in years past would have been a bit of a slip up for an Everton team, playing against a team that we should be beating at home. And against, in a game too that had all the makings of an Everton moment. Sean Dyche, former manager, Forrest way down the table. Just everything that idea that, Everton, that the things that can go wrong will go wrong for the club, but it didn't happen. I'm going to be straight with you, Jacob. I don't think we played particularly well, even for a 3-0 win. I think what we did was we had a game plan, and because we scored that first goal in the first minute, it became a case of, well, now we can let Forrest have the ball because Sean Dyche is our manager, and unfortunately he doesn't know what to do with possession. When his teams have possession, you saw his whole tenure with us. It wasn't anything good. It didn't do anything for the team. He didn't know how to use anything in possession. He didn't want possession. He just wanted chaos. So it felt good. It felt nice to see us win that way. And, more power to it. But some key moments in that first half, obviously, Kieran Dewsbury Hall's cross/shot that turned into an own goal from Milinkovic. And after that, it kind of seemed like Forrest grew into the game a bit. Even the first 10 minutes, it just felt very disjointed for a lot of that first half. A lot of broken up play, a lot of, middle third play without there being much pressure. We had some opportunities where we went up the pitch. It seemed like very often we were looking to counter on Forrest, right? We were looking to get the ball up quickly to our playmakers, and that serves us well. And then I think the moment that we really should be talking about, honestly, Tierno Berry's goal, man, what a moment, huh?
I this counterattack, it's
Yeah,
happening. For me, it feels like when you slow a video down to, 0.25 speed, if Pickford makes the save on Anderson on one end, and then, I mean, they're still talking about the save, and then here comes Ilman and Jai through the midfield, and oh my God, look, there's Charlie Alcaraz, and look, there's Tiano Berry, and they're all alone. And I was sitting there going, play it to him, play it to him, play it to him. I was so concerned that he wasn't gonna finish. I was like, oh, he needs this so
man.
bad. And he took the finish really, really well, composed, classy. Like he scored 10 of them this year. And to be fair, it was a great run and a great layoff from Njai as well. A man seemingly back in a little
My
bit of
audio is
form.
gone completely. We're just gonna have to. I think. Here we go. Let's try this again. Talk for me, Jacob.
You got me?
Yeah, I have no audio. That's crazy. What in the world?
Well, that's wild.
Hey, what a time for it, right? What a time. Oh, look, there it is, dude. And it went in my AirPods, too. That's crazy. Here we are.
Oh, there we
I don't
go.
know anything that you just said, Jacob, but okay. Just repeat it all for me. No. I'm sure you had some very nice platitudes about Tierno Berry.
I was essentially just saying that it's a great run and it's really composed. It's a great finish from Tierno Berry, especially I thought from a guy that it looks like he scored 10 of those this year. For a guy that seemingly a little bit low in confidence, he takes that and he's so confident, and it's a great bit of play from Njai too, and he's been so good all year, and even in the lulls, and I thought yesterday he was pretty good as well. So I'm just extremely extremely happy to see Tierno Berry score finally. He was thrilled too. It was.
Dude, it's funny, when he went off to celebrate and he had the big grin on his face, just the shouting, the falling to his knees, just like in relief of having scored.
Mm-hmm.
It was telling for me that Njai was so quick, because Njai knew. I mean, everybody knew he was going to lay that off for Barry. He knew who needed the confidence. He knew who needed the goal. And
Right.
I mean, it was a great first time finish, just slotted right into the corner, basically passed it in. It was fantastic. But when they went off to celebrate, I mean, Njai makes sure he gets up to Barry and celebrates with him. Barry looks for him, he gets the touch, he looks the wrong way and looks back. It was just one of those moments that we've been waiting for a while. And really, I think we all want him to now kick on and score more goals and find this confidence, because he is now cemented as that starting striker for this team. And even if in January we look to bring in somebody like Ivan Toney or whoever, because that's the only name we can really think of right now, on loan, just to add more goals to this team. I mean, I think the kid, and I say kid loosely, he's 23, but he's, the kid has come out and performed well and stuck to it and not gotten too down on himself, and even kind of played around with this notion that he's struggling, right? On social media, he kind of pokes fun at himself. And I think when we first saw him come in, we saw a guy who was nervous. We saw a guy who hadn't gelled with the squad yet, who hadn't made a lot of connections in the squad yet, was getting used to living in a new country. I mean, when you look at Tierno Berry's career trajectory, the guy has played in like 3-4 different leagues over the past 4 or 5 years. It's been just mercurial, just straight up, right? And now he's at really the summit, because there's not another league he can go to outside the Premier League where it's going to get more challenging, where the stakes are higher, where the spotlight is on you more. And he's coming and he's just learning. You can see it. You can see it every game. You can see the application he puts in. I don't think that outside of his goal, he had the greatest game ever. And that's okay. Look, it's a tough Sean Dyche team. They're not going to give a striker a lot of time. They're pressing high. They press very high on us. And I think that kind of showed in the first half. We struggled to deal with that at times. We didn't really break it. We got caught. We lost the ball in midfield. But thankfully it's a Sean Dyche team and we never really had to worry about them doing too much, which is crazy. Let me say this. That Forest team is way too good to be where they're at right now. There are way too many good. I mean, maybe you don't think the same, but I'm looking at players like Morgan Gibbs-White and Elliot Anderson, even Amari Hutchinson, Dan Ndoye, Milinkovic and Sells in the back line. And I'm thinking, what's going on here? Honestly, I mean, maybe they flattered to deceive, and last year was a bit of an aberration, or just a manager finding the right formula with a good team. But I look at that team and I can pick quite a few players I'd love to see at Everton. So
Yep.
when I talked about this with Jake Holton on our last show, I said we win 3-0, but I was also worried that like Forrest were going to come out, that Deitch was going to have them geared up for this. And maybe he did, but they didn't take instruction well. Or again, it's just a Sean Deitch team, and he does not know how to build a team to attack with possession. There's a reason we had 41% possession to their 59, because David Moyes knowingly did not want us to have possession. He did not want us to have our foot in the ball and get relaxed. And it didn't happen. And we won 3-0 because of that. So I want to ask you this. When Tierno Berry got subbed off on 60 minutes, why do you think that was? Because I thought he should have played a lot longer. And obviously he had just got that yellow card before, but what do you think?
You know, it's so. I feel like David Moyes, just as a manager, has a little bit of a shorter leash with the younger guys, and I think maybe he gets the yellow and he's just, let's pull him while his confidence is good. We're 2-0 up and it's comfortable, and let's get Beto some minutes. Maybe he'll score a goal too, and then it's double fun for everyone. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that could be a fitness thing that we're not seeing in matches. That maybe he's still running.
He does have that shoulder issue going on. That definitely plagued him a couple times in that match. He stayed down for a decent amount of time when Milinkovic just kind of put a hand on his shoulder. But when you've got a shoulder injury, maybe it's still out of place or easy to go out of place. You never know if that might happen again. So,
and look, I'll say about just real quickly on Forest. I think you watch them. One, I think part of this is the absolute hubris of the ownership, getting rid of Nuno when they did, bringing in a guy that plays a style that their squad's not fit for. But then, I mean, you look at this team that had success last year, and this is just really quick going off very surface numbers. Anthony Elanga, 17 goals and assists last year, gone to Newcastle. Chris Wood, 23 goals and assists. He's been hurt since the middle of October, and I think they're missing the cutting edge. And like you said, Gibbs White's good. Igor Jesus is good. I don't think he's as good. I mean,
it's not very good in my opinion.
And I don't think they're going to go down or anything. I think they finish 13, 14, 15, somewhere around there. But
yeah,
these Sean Dyche teams, and we've had experience with this. They're gonna drag out some 1-2-0 victories here and there. They're gonna draw a lot. They're gonna lose some games that maybe they shouldn't, and they can thank their ownership for that. I mean, to this day, I mean, one of the more curious falling outs and firings and then hirings that I think maybe we've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, we don't need to get too deep into the Nottingham Forest ownership situation, because I feel like that's the sort of thing that, I don't know, gives you death threats if you talk about it on a public platform. I don't know, man. I don't. I'm not American Os's biggest. I can't remember how to say his name perfectly, but I'm not his biggest fan. I've read a few things about him and some of his business dealings, let's say. So I'm not his biggest fan. I don't like. I think he's very outspoken, but there's a point when it's not outspoken anymore, and you're just complaining to complain. You're just trying to get your voice out there. You just like to hear the sound of your own voice in the media. I don't know. Like they put in this complaint about James Tarkovsky's shove, which, to be fair, was really stupid.
Yes.
It's like,
yes,
it's he's always kind of good for one of those a game, but it was just one of those moments like the play is stopped, nobody's moving, and you just go and you very deliberately put your shoulder into his back. Like, is that a red card? Probably not. I would say it's a yellow card. He's probably lucky not to get that. It didn't even really get called a foul, but it was dumb. It was a dumb move. I know he's his center back. He's a hard man. He's trying to let the striker know that he's there, but it's just like, man, there's better ways to do that. Do it while the ball's in play, and don't do it when VAR and cameras are going to be centered and only looking at that, and we'll get a perfect view of it regardless. Second half, I think because we scored right before halftime, it was much more settled. Again, I mean, I don't know if have you seen that image of Forrest passing chart in the second half?
Yeah.
It's like, it's like this, sideways like that, with about 4 passes. It's incredible. It's incredible. It is absolutely incredible that, again, I know you're not too big on Forrest. I think they've got a lot of talented players in that squad.
I agree.
It is incredible that a team with that amount of talent and forward impetus in that squad is looking like that. But it's funny watching a lot of that second half. One thing I noticed is that the only time Forrest could do anything was when Elliot Anderson got his foot on the ball. The only time, and way too often. I know this is an Everton podcast, but I'm just perplexed by the quality that Forrest have and the way they play with Sean Dyche. We know he can't reinvent himself, but it's like you can have all these quality players, and you as an owner say, "Well, we need a manager who can save us from this fire that I have created." So here you go, Sean Dyche. Make sure we stay up, and then what? What's in game there? They're in Europe still right now.
Yeah.
Weird. Second half played out. Kieran Dewsbury Hall, beautiful goal, lovely. Just passes it in. I mean, it's so funny. You watch that goal and the angles they have of it, and it's the way everything just opens up for him. Right? It literally just opens up, and it's just slotted in, no problem. The guy is a machine. I talked about this with Jake Holton, but I very much think that he's obviously loving life here at Everton. He's starting every week. He's getting to play in his two preferred positions as a 10 and an 8, whichever one he likes more, we don't know. But more than anything, that guy is playing his ass off because he knows there's a chance he gets in that World Cup squad. He knows he can. Because realistically, if you look at the England squad, there's a couple midfielders that he could replace. Most likely Alex Scott of Bournemouth. We just played them. I mean, he's a decent little player, but the way Kieran Dewsbury Hall is playing right now, he's far more valuable as a player. He's far more informed. He's far more versatile. I mean, for my standing, for my time watching Everton, I've never seen us have a midfielder like him before.
It's a big shout.
Big shout, man. I mean, like people have kind of compared him to Mikel Arteta a little bit, but it is a forward thinking. It is the ability. He dictates tempo. That's what it is. He dictates tempo way better than James Garner can. Idrissa Gana Gueye is not that player, but he just gets his foot on the ball and he makes the right pass. Yes, one of his one of his faults right now is that he gets caught a little bit on the ball. It happened a couple times. He just gets caught. He just is dwelling. Alcaraz does the same thing sometimes, but for the most part, he's an 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 every game, or has been at least for the past few weeks.
He reminds me a lot of Gylfi Sigurdsson at his best for Everton. I think is a kind of a similar profile, except I think Dewsbury Hall maybe is a little bit more well-rounded, and I think that he offers you a little bit more on the other side of the pitch as well. I think
he's physically way above Gylfi Sigurdsson because
and physically, yes, absolutely. Yeah. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little surprised at the sharp uptick in form, like how good he's been. It's found another level. I don't know where it came from, but
yeah. I think Moyes has just made the tactical tweaks between I think really when you look at that United game in particular, he's made the tweaks of getting the ball out to an Njai or Grealish, and then having a James Garner, having a Dewsbury Hall come into that space in the middle so they can pass that ball inside and they can start to move and build that inside out play. It happened against United multiple times. It happened against Bournemouth multiple times. And against Forest, we didn't really need to play that same kind of way because we're not playing away from home. We're not playing in a way where we need to advance the ball that way. We're cutting through the middle of Forest very easily. What did you think of Alcaraz's performance?
He doesn't. I don't think he did necessarily anything that is going to jump out at you and scream, "Wow, he had a really great game." And then if you go look at player ratings on something like FUTMob, he's a little lower than his midfield compatriots.
Yeah, he's like a 6.5, I think I saw. Yeah.
Not great, but I think similarly to the Bournemouth game, he gets an assist off a deflected shot in the Bournemouth game, maybe a little bit lucky, but I think there is something to guys like Dewsbury Hall playing better with him on the pitch, I think. And I think he's one of those guys that, AFCON starts on the 15th and Idrissa Gueye goes. I'm shocked if he is not a regular, at least until AFCON's over, because I think he rounds out our midfield really well. And I'm not saying that Idrissa Gueye doesn't walk back in when he comes back, but you watch a guy like James Garner and a guy like Kieran Dewsbury Hall having Alcaraz to run with them, to link to the front three. For some reason, it just looks like it makes more sense when you watch it. And I think Alcaraz still has a lot more to offer too. I am a lot higher on him than maybe some other people are. I think that he's super athletic. I think he's got a really good eye for a pass. I'm not sure how many goals he gives you in a year, but we know he can score them. I think he's a good player, and he also gives you the work rate going back the other way, just like Dewsbury Hall does. And I think he gets a run now. I think he gets a run, a good run, and we see where he's at in a month.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the big thing because when I've noticed him play, I think he looks rusty to me,
Mm-hmm.
specifically with his passing. I
Yep.
think it's a part of his game he needs to improve because there were quite a few times in that Forest game where he just left the ball a little short. He just didn't get that right
Mm-hmm.
weight on the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and look, passing is a real art form. It's not easy to do to weight your balls perfectly because you either most of the a lot of times players end up leaving it too hard or too short, and getting it just
All right.
right is really, really tough. But there were definitely moments where play continued to break down through him. He does get caught on the ball sometimes. Again, a la Dewsbury Hall. I think that is a bit of their part of their position, part of their nature as players because they're looking to go forward so often. They're looking up and scanning and not quite sensing the danger that's coming onto them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I like Charlie Alcaraz a lot too, honestly. I think he's a real firecracker. I think, again, it's about the impetus, it's about the forward motion and the attack. And he is always looking to get it forward. He's always looking to create. He's looking to drive into space. Um, and I always saw him as a player that was going to be so valuable for a team that doesn't like to have possession
Mm-hmm.
because he's not a possession based player. He doesn't need a bunch of the ball to be effective. Just get him the ball, get him the chance to run into space, get him the chance to run at players. And it shows. It shows his ability. It shows what he can do. And I agree, it totally revitalizes this forward line for us. It adds something different. When we had Kieran Dewsbury Hall playing in that 10, things looked neat and tidy. The passing looked good. We had some good interplay. At times, the runs would be really good and we'd have these through balls that would look good. But it also was a little too structured and a little too stilted and a little
Mm-hmm.
too predictable at times. With Alcaraz, yes, you exchange a bit of that structure and predictability for a bit of chaos and unpredictability, but you need that. You need that on the pitch, man. You can't, and not everybody can be structured. This is not, Arsene Wenger's Arsenal. You don't play like that anymore. You need the chaos. You need the unpredictability that a player like that offers. So he'll continue to start, I think, against Chelsea. We'll see. With Gana Gay back, man, we'll see. And we'll talk about Chelsea soon. But it's going to be really interesting to see how the lineup changes, considering how good this team has performed since his suspension.
Yeah,
Uh,
look, and real quick, one more underrated performer shout out. Dwight McNeil, best
mhm.
17 minutes of the season. A guy
Yeah,
that's played, let's see, 17 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 3 minutes, 0 minutes since November 8th. That was the
yeah.
first cameo that he's made all year where I watched him and I thought, he's in there somewhere.
He's
He's in
slow,
there.
man.
We gotta get him out of there.
He's slow, man.
And he's always been slow and he's always been he might chop his right foot off, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
You know?
literally. Give him
He
a second
literally
life.
won't use it anyway.
It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. But I digress. Yeah, he looks like a player again who looks rusty coming on, who looks, I don't
And
want
it
to
looks
say
like he's
that
starting to shake that off a little. Just a
a
little.
little, just a little bit. He had more chances when that game was open at 3-0
Mm-hmm.
too. I mean, if he had a little bit more pace, maybe, there's a different story in how that game ended. Maybe it's a 4-0, 5-0 win. But,
Yeah.
you know, I, I'm still not totally, I'm sure he has a part to play in this December, you know, run of games.
I agree.
After that, I imagine that his future is not at Everton. If it's till the end of the season, okay. I
Yeah.
think it's going to depend on his ambition as a player, how much he actually wants to play. I'm sure he wants to play, even if it's just for like the appearance fees or whatever. Like he wants to play. He wants to get out there because nobody really just wants to sit on the bench and watch what's going on or be entered in 50, with 15, 10 minutes left, and then you're getting nothing.
Yeah, and I mean I think we'll know when AFCON starts
Yep.
if Dibling's getting the minutes and if he's not, Dwight
Yeah,
McNeil's gonna get a couple
well, that's
games
the
and
next question, isn't it? Is
yeah.
how is Tyler Dibbling going to get integrated into this team now? Because this team, I mean, look, so we have. Let's take 1 second. There's two more players I want to talk about before we get into it. First, Michael Keane. Guy's a
Yep.
monster still.
Mhm.
Just absolute monster, Colossus. I love him. Um, just doesn't put a foot wrong. Just plays his heart out. Loves playing for this team. Came back from injury real soon for us,
Mhm.
and didn't put a foot wrong. I don't know if you noticed around the 60-minute mark when Forrest were making the first substitutions, but David Moyes had called Jordan Pickford and somebody else over and was laying into that. He was so visibly upset that the commentators like, well, look at Moyes, like yelling at his players or 2-0 up. And it's like
Mhm.
he was yelling at Pickford in particular. I know I posed a question to you. Do we need to worry about Jordan Pickford right now? So I don't want that's not the same question I'm gonna ask. But is Jordan Pickford not as good when he's not facing a barrage of shots every game?
I think that is pretty fair to say, honestly, because I think, it's like I've said before on this show with you. Jordan Pickford is at his best and he plays at a very elite level when you say, okay, we are not going to have the ball. We're going to sit back and this team's going to just hammer you over and over and over and over and over. And he will stand on his head. He'll do backflips. He'll jump over the goal. He'll come back. He'll save some more. But I don't know what it is. I think when there's not a lot coming his way, I don't know if it's a focus thing or if it's he's not in the flow of the game as much when he's not facing shots, but it does just kind of feel like he has a slip more often. And like that moment when, Tarkowski gets clear off the line, I think it was in the 60 something minute, Jordan Pickford, makes a pretty bad little mispunch. And that easily
Yeah,
could have been a
that whole
goal. And then
situation. Yeah.
yeah, and that could have been a goal. And then, at 2-1, I've seen Everton do worse things than drop some points, and then we're really talking about it. And so I think, like Idrissa Gueye United, I think he's kind of lucky. But I mean, I pose the same question to you. Do you think that when he's not facing shots, he's a worse player?
Yes, I do. I think it's a concentration thing.
Yeah, yeah.
It just comes down to that. When I think you could say he gets bored. You could say that he's just his mind's just not there, and maybe it wanders a little bit. Look, I mean, Jordan Pickford's still a world class goalkeeper. At the end of the
Hmm.
day, he's not. He's not. There's no for me. There's no downturn in his ability. But again, this is we're looking at Everton right now in this transitional phase. This is a transition from the crap that we've been served up and the crap that we've been as a team for the past few years to a team that wants to challenge. And the upwards mobility this season has been very, very quick. It has been quicker than I imagine David Moyes and the ownership would have expected, and probably quite a few of these players
Hmm.
would have expected, especially because of how open this league is right now. But we deserve to be in sixth place. There's no doubts about it. We not. I don't think any of our wins have been cheap. None of them have been lucky. We haven't been battered and won a game really. Everything we've gotten, we've deserved, including the losses. Honestly, we've deserved the losses we had because we haven't played well enough in them.
Hmm.
Maybe make an argument about the Liverpool game, but we went into that game in an unfortunate headspace that we enter in when we go to Anfield, and we found ourselves 2-0 down, and we couldn't really do much about it. We got to go back. We fought. We had a really good second half, but
Hmm.
it's neither here nor there. Um, so getting used to a team that is now having a bit more possession, is a bit more defensively solid, and especially against a team like Forest where there's not a lot of cut and thrust. It's just a lot of nothing, honestly, when
Yeah.
you think back to it. You can imagine that, yes, Jordan Pickford just does lose his concentration a little bit. Does it make me worry about him too much? No. Because then again, we have Chelsea up next, and we're probably going to have like 35% possession against Chelsea. They're going to be coming at us over and over and over. So Jordan Pickford's probably going to be at his best. He's probably going to have 6 saves and be incredible. And who knows, that helps us get something there. But I just want to ask that question because I don't think it's a question people talk about. A lot of times Jordan Pickford seems like an untouchable guy. I get it. I'm not trying to question who he is. I'm just asking the question. You notice these signs. Let's see if we can't get ahead of it and talk about it now instead of God forbid it's February and the guy's made like 3 errors leading to a goal. hopefully it doesn't happen. But then it's like, well, is he finished? And it becomes this big dramatic thing. Whereas let's get ahead of it a little bit. So
And look, I mean, I think a really good example of this is the Newcastle game, right? In a game that he is emotionally invested in a game that he, I think, really often lets his emotions get ahead of himself. Several really big errors. We get thumped. It's bad. It's bad. And it only happens when he is not emotionally dialed. And I think a good antithesis to that would be when he plays for England, when he is not, in that emotional headspace. He is like when he plays like a Newcastle, he's hyper focused. He wants to win for his country. And I think that's why he's at his best. And I think that's why when he plays for England, you don't see the same one out of 10 or so games where he looks
shaky.
a little shaky. Yeah.
Well, who's your player of the match?
Dewsbury Hall.
Dewsbury Hall. Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Obviously. Yeah.
He was just head and shoulders above everybody in the pitch most weeks these days. He's just good, just solid player. I mean, you would argue it'd be hard to find another midfielder in better form than him in the league right now, in all honesty. Was there a moment in that game, set aside Tierno Barry's goal, because that's what we'd all want to talk about. It's like, that's a big moment of the game that felt so good. Was there another moment in that game where you found some real enjoyment?
I think just, I know you just said besides the Tierno Barry goal, but let me work around this in a fun way, right?
Okay, let's see it.
A really smart save on one end of the pitch, a lightning counterattack that somebody maybe scored, but I think that is just so good to see from this team, that we have the quality on one side where Michael Keane's playing so well, and from a maybe macro level, Jake O'Brien stepping in and having a great game was something I really enjoyed, because I saw some people not super happy that he was back in and right back.
Yeah,
I think that was shut down at least for the weekend. I think he was sensational, and I think that's our strongest team right now, and I think we move with it.
Ooh, so you think Gallagher doesn't get back in this team for Chelsea?
See, we have Chelsea and Arsenal coming up, right? And I think those are games where we're not going to see a lot of the ball. I think it's probably smart to get Idrissa Gueye back in the team.
Because he's gone after Chelsea. He's back. He's to AFCON. Him and Ndiaye, Chelsea's their last game. After that.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Arsenal's on the 20th.
Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, that's even another thing that you have to consider is, do you throw Idrissa back in for one game when this lineup's been pretty solid in his absence? Because then he's just gone anyway. I almost say, well, hell, just keep Alcaraz in there, see how we do against a team that's going to come at us. Because Bournemouth didn't really come at us like that. Forest didn't really come at us. United were okay in attack. Pickford made some good saves, but Chelsea and Arsenal are really going to make you work for it.
They've got very good quality players: Pedro Neto, Cole Palmer, Garnacho, João Pedro, Esteval. That Chelsea game is going to be real. It's going to be a real litmus test for us.
And it feels like Stamford Bridge is a place that we don't enjoy very often.
Have we ever won there? I don't know if we ever won there in the Premier League era, honestly. Maybe
it feels like we lose 4-0 every time we play at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah,
every single time.
It's a real tough place for us to go. It's either 4-0 or it's like a weird 2-2, 3-3 game. Like, you think of that Martinez game where Funes Mori scored in the last minute, and then John Terry scored an offside goal to equalize in like the last kick of the game. It's a weird one for us. It's either we should have won, or we just got our asses kicked. We just got to walk away from this.
Right.
Well, my little moment from the game actually was after the game. It was Sean Dyche sitting down for his presser, and talking about the Pepsi bottle in front of him and about the financial difficulties of the club and making light of that. And I will say this: I'm really glad that the fans gave him a good reception. I think it was well deserved on his part. He kept us up. Even if he's not the most likable person, even if he's kind of just a big weirdo, in all honesty, it's okay. I'm a big weirdo too. Like, whatever, we all are deep down. But I'm really happy that the fans gave him that. But it was a little weird to see him kind of like, not like throw a temper tantrum, but almost like just not even care. I didn't watch his presser. I don't know if he acknowledged that or not. It would have been nice if he did. But he's just weird. Just the things he does, I don't know, man. It's weird to think of the people who've been Everton manager over the past 10 years, man. You know, Sean Dyche, Ronald Koeman, Marco Silva. Marco Silva's okay. You know, I know Fulham lost today. I watched the second half of that game.
Mm.
You know, Marco Silva's a nice enough guy, but Koeman, Allardyce, man, freaking Rafa Benitez, Jesus. I mean, it's been this weird carousel of managers for a while now, and it's nice. I mean, it's crazy. We just all roads lead back to David Moyes.
Mm-hmm.
So, uh, well, now we're going to step away from Nottingham Forest, Notts Forest, as they are known colloquially, and we're going to talk about Chelsea. Chelsea away, folks. That is a big, big game.
Mm.
Looking at the facts, Chelsea are in fifth, 1 point above us on 25 points. We are in 24. Same amount of wins. They have one more draw to our one more loss. Chelsea drew with Bournemouth 0-0 on the weekends. I believe it was a pretty even game when I looked at the stats. Same number of shots. You know, Bournemouth had far less possession than Chelsea. But you know, that's a place we just went and won. So do you take some comfort from knowing that Chelsea couldn't go and beat Bournemouth?
I do, and I think we should take comfort in knowing that Chelsea are not consistent week to week on a title contender level, and so I think there's always a chance you can go and get a hit off of them if you're up for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I should have gone and watched that game, but I really didn't want to watch a 0-0, honestly.
Mm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
and even though it would have been for research purposes, I really didn't. I actually ended up watching the Leeds Liverpool game, which you know,
Good
we're
one.
not going to talk about Liverpool here. I don't really care about the Mo Salah drama. You know, that's their thing to deal with. We dealt with our own drama for a long time. I don't need to deal with what they have going on. But yeah, it's gonna be a tough game, man. I mean, look, I know Chelsea aren't the most informed. They've lost the Leeds, they drew with Bournemouth, but right before they lost the Leeds, they beat Barcelona 3-0. So it's it swings and roundabouts. You know, any version of Chelsea could show up, and usually the version of Chelsea that shows up against Everton is a version that's good enough to beat us pretty handily. Looking at who they'll probably start, you're looking at Pedro Neto, Cole Palmer, Garnacho. Liam Delap started against Bournemouth. I think he was their worst player on the pitch.
He got hurt, shoulder
Okay,
injury.
hurt. Okay, I'm sorry to hear that. Dang, Liam, why didn't you come to Everton, Liam? I'm incensed about that whole situation still with Liam Delap, man. Him and
Good
Kenny,
decision.
like you guys didn't realize that everything you ever wanted was right in front of you, and you went to Chelsea and you stayed at Fulham. You wanted to stay in London. That's on you, pal. That's on you. Now you're playing 10 games a season and getting hurt. Anyways, enough about my bitterness. So if Liam Delap's hurt, that means João Pedro is going to start up top. João Pedro is such an interesting attacker because he's got lots of ability. He's got a great shot on him, good finishing ability. I don't think he works super hard, which hopefully plays into our hands. It's just going to be a tough game, man. Where do you think Everton can get points here? What do they have to do?
I think it's going to come from a foundational level of being really solid in your shape. I think that's going to be super. I think the way Chelsea play, I think they are so much better and with the players they have when they can come at you and come at you and come at you, and they wait for somebody to get out of position, they wait for somebody to make a mistake, and then they have a lot of guys that have a really good finish. But I mean, if you look at if you look at these guys like this Bournemouth lineup, I mean it's Garnacho, it's Neto, it's Palmer, it's João Pedro. I mean Gusto and
Reece
Cucurella
James in
from the back,
midfield, which is kind of weird to me.
and Reece James has been pretty good too.
Yeah.
But I think speaking of Reece James in the midfield, I mean I honestly think a little bit that we could exploit their midfield. I think it's a pretty decent matchup for our midfield. I mean, it's Palmer, Fernandez, and Reece James going against what's probably going to be Dewsbury Hall, Idrissa Gueye, and James Garner.
Yeah.
I think you stay solid at the back. We don't even necessarily have to go into this game saying we're only going to hit them on the counter and that's the only way we're going to score goals, because I think if we come at it with the right mindset, there is an avenue where we can score goals. I think if we come at it with the right mindset, there is an avenue where we can score goals, because I think if we come at it with the right mindset, there is an avenue where we can score goals, because I think if we come at it with the right mindset, there is an avenue where we can score goals, because I think if we come at it with the right mindset, there is an avenue where we can score goals, because I think if we come at it with the right mindset, there is an avenue where we can score goals, because I think if we come at it with the right mindset, there is an avenue where we can score goals, because I think if we come at it with the right mindset, there is an avenue where we can score goals, because I think if we come at it with the right mindset, there is an avenue where we can score goals, because I think if we come at it with the right mindset, there is an avenue where we can score goals, because I think if we come at it with the right mindset, there is an avenue where we can score goals, because I think if we come at it with the right mindset, there is an avenue where we can score goals, because I think if we come at it with the right mindset, there is an avenue where we can score goals, because I play some good stuff, we hold some possession, and we score goals like we did against Forest. I mean,
Yeah,
I think there's a world.
there is a world.
There's many worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's going to be tough. I
It is.
think what I really enjoy knowing is that we're probably going to go there and have a go. I don't think we're going to be playing scared. I don't think we're going to necessarily play for a draw, because I do think that this version of David Moyes is far, far different from the one that was at Everton during his first spell. I think this version of David Moyes, one is on, towards the end of his career. He probably won't manage too much longer. So he's trying, he's doing what he can to win while he's still here. Two, this version of David Moyes has been away from Everton for a long time and realized that everything leads back to Everton. Even though he had success at West Ham and maybe had some failures at Sunderland and Real Sociedad and Man United, I think this is a version of David Moyes that has come to learn that the time he spent at Everton and the care and affection he has for Everton is maybe even greater than he actually understood until he came back to the club and has this opportunity to manage at the Hill Dickinson Stadium. I also think this version of David Moyes really, he's said it already in press conferences, but I think this version of David Moyes so desperately wants to win something for this Everton, for this club, for these fans. I think that shows. It maybe didn't show in that League Cup tie, and hopefully he's learned a lesson from that. We won't really know until we start seeing FA Cup games, but I do think that he is very, very focused. I think he's far more focused than any manager we've had for years, honestly. Just again, I'm going to allude to that moment in the game against Forest where he's ripping into Jordan Pickford and somebody else. I don't remember who, Michael Keane. I don't know who, Mikolenko. Ripping into them. 60 minutes, we're up 2-0, and he is ripping into them like we've just conceded 2 goals and the game's tied. It's a level of demand. It is the camaraderie he's built in this dressing room. He's put together a team of a lot of English guys too. I don't know if you noticed, a lot of English Irish players in this team right now. I think 65% of our team that start every week are English or Irish. I think that's awesome. I think you don't see that very often in the Premier League these days. It tends to be a lot of nationalities or, playing for one team. And to see that and see the camaraderie he's built, see the players come around each other, come together with each other, the support they've had for Tierno Barry. I think what David Moyes is doing at Everton right now is very, very special. Where it takes us this season, I don't know. And again, we've seen earlier in the season a struggle against the City, a struggle a bit against the Liverpool, lost to Leeds, lost a couple of bad home games. But there's a real unity with this squad, and the sky's the limit this season with how disjointed this league is. So it's just going to come down to us being focused and taking our chances and really wanting it, fighting together as a single unit to want to go to Chelsea and break our hoodoo there. You don't just beat a team like United away or beat Bournemouth away where you've never won and say, oh, well, that's nothing. That is a moment as a team where there's clarity that's involved with that. There is a moment that is like, wow, we just did something that nobody has been able to do before, or that hasn't been done in over a decade. That builds confidence. We can go anywhere and win. We can go to Chelsea. We can go to Arsenal. We can go to Tottenham. We can get wins there. That confidence really grows in the squad. And one thing I really hope that if we lose to Chelsea, if we get battered, if we lose 3-0, 4-0, I really hope that doesn't affect this team hard. I know we're about to go into AFCON. We're going to lose 2 really important players, and it could just totally derail this progress that we're making right now. But I can ask the question. Go ahead, Jacob. Ask.
I was say I agree. And while you were talking about David Moyes, it actually made me think of something you said 20 minutes ago, where you said, "Hey, I don't think the manager, I don't think the ownership, I don't even think the players thought that this team was this far along this quick." And dare I say, I think David Moyes had a very educational 3 days in September when I think we set up very negatively at Liverpool and still almost came away with the result. And then we went to Wolves in the Cup and were frankly embarrassed by a team that's on 2 points. Yeah. And yes, I know that Man City and Tottenham were bad in October, but it really feels like for the first time in a long time, we have a manager and a group of players that have come to an understanding with each other that we don't have to hide in the big moments. There's enough quality, there's enough belief about the team that, like you said, I really think that they think they can go anywhere and get a result. In that mentally, I think it's something that when's the last time we saw that? I mean,
It's been a long, long time.
yes, and it's great to see.
And I think a lot of that also comes down to some of the recruitment
Hmm.
that's been done over the summer. Two players in particular, Jack Grealish and Kieran Dewsbury Hall, two players that have won a
Yes,
decent amount of trophies, a lot of trophies. With that winning experience comes winning mentality. And that winning mentality just spreads through this team like wildfire, especially when you have players who are young and hungry and want to achieve things themselves. And you look at a player like Element and Die, you look at a player like Tierno Berry, and you look at players like Jake O'Brien, even some more senior players like Vitaly Mikolenko, Michael Keane, James Tarkowski, Garner, etc., Idrissa Gana Gay. You look at these players and you see the quality that's brought in the height of standards that has risen now, right? I think the Rob Vera. I don't know if you listen to the Blue Room podcast at all, but Rob Vera mentioned about the talent floor rising when you sign players like Kieran Dewsbury Hall, and that's a really really good point because it is really important for your talent floor to be high because you don't want a low talent floor because then you have a couple of really good players and a bunch of players who just aren't really good enough and that mixes in with the squad and confidence drops and form drops when you have players like Kieran Dewsbury Hall, and Kieran Dewsbury Hall is our most informed player right now, but even like Jack Grealish wasn't great against Forest. He hasn't been lighting the world on fire for a number of weeks now. We could debate to the end of the world why that is. But even when a player of Jack Grealish's capability is not playing to his best, still the talent floor is up here because you have Jack Grealish playing in the squad and playing with these players every week. The team's just getting better. And and if we add quality in January, I mean, who knows? Who knows? We're not going to be talking about winning the title yet. Let us get to 30 points first, and then we'll talk about winning the title. But
mm,
I mean, look, if Aston Villa can go, they're in third place right now on 30 points. If Aston Villa can go and beat Arsenal at home, then anybody can beat anybody in this league. Anybody can
I
beat
agree.
anybody.
I
And
agree.
every game thinking you can win.
Mm.
Well, all right. Any prediction? Give me a prediction. Come on. What do you think's going to happen?
I think we play really well. I think there's a lot to be excited about, Forest. I think we lose, but I think we play really well, and I think we probably lose 3-1. But I think there's a lot of good things to take away, and I think we look to Arsenal in a week and we say, let's go get 3 points and let's run out of Stamford Bridge as fast as we can, please and thank you.
All right. Well, I say we win 2-1 a la
I
Sunderland.
love it.
So here's my thing. Here's my thing. We need to match results like Sunderland winning at Chelsea. If we want to be serious about having a European conversation, we need to match those results, right? Bournemouth drawing with Chelsea, we need to at least match that. Sunderland winning at Chelsea, we need to match that. Even like Villa beating Arsenal, we need to match that. We are in a position now where we can start to be serious about Europe. Yes, the league's very congested. Yes, there's about 4 points to separate fourth from like 13th. I get it. We could lose these next two games and be 12th place and be like,
Yeah.
oh, well, we thought we were
Yeah.
going to be here all season. Like I get it. Anything can happen. The conversation changes so much every week, but it's on the players. It's on the players. It's on the manager. And to an extent, it's on us as fans to have that belief that we can go to these places and win, to go in there with fear, to go in with confidence, to go in, again, just with that one word, with belief, with unity.
Mm.
We as a team can go there and do something special and be something different than what Everton has always been. Not always been, but has been. And the whole time I've supported them, and specifically how they've been over the past few years, where they've been looked at as a dumpster fire team.
Yeah, and look, I think it's totally possible we go in there and we get a result or even a win. It's been 1994 last time we won. 94. Paul Rideout, 1-0 at Stanford. No, at Stanford Bridge.
Just look that up.
And I mean,
years.
31 years. And, Chelsea play at Atalanta on Tuesday. So they'll be off a short week.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Things to consider.
Oh, big brain thoughts. Okay. I'm sticking with 2-1. Honestly, I really think we can do it. I know this Chelsea team have a lot of good players. We're going to see. We're going to see. You're right. They go to Atlanta. We're going to see. I think we can do it. You don't.
Chelsea
Pragmatism.
has very high highs and they have very low lows. We'll see what we get.
Sounds just like Everton. All right.
Mm.
Well, we don't have any questions today, y'all, and I'm not going to try to come up with any because I'm tired and I didn't realize I was in the morning. I thought I closed the bar tomorrow night, so here I am going to the bar in the morning. So we really appreciate y'all joining us today. This is the first time we've gone live on X. Jacob, I don't know if you can see the viewer count on here.
Oh, I didn't know we were live on X. That's cool.
People watching us this whole time.
Wow.
Yeah, typically we have like 5 to 10 because we only broadcast live on YouTube. So this has been really nice. It's been a good experience. I don't think we can get any engagement from X on here. That's okay. But you guys follow us on our socials. You see them here, USA EFC. And let me make this easier for us. So this is me, bottom left, USA EFC. And then Jacob right here, Richie Jacob 625. I don't know what the numbers mean. I don't think he does either, but that's okay. They don't. They're just numbers at the end of the day.
It ain't mean nothing.
Mathematicians. Neither of us are mathematicians. Okay. So thank you so much for joining us today, y'all. This show will be available on Spotify and Apple Music or wherever you get your podcasts. I think I heard somebody else say that at the end of a podcast. I thought it sounded cool, so I'm gonna say the same thing. But we really appreciate y'all joining us. Up the Toffees. We're back at it at Stamford Bridge Saturday, 10 a.m. for us here in the States. I think it's 3 p.m. for y'all still. Let's see 3 more points from these beautiful Toffees, and good night. Godspeed.